Good morning. I'm Pat Cavanaugh, publisher of the Rockdale News. I hope you had a good week. We did. I hope you saw in our printed edition special section on visions, which is the good positive things that are happening in our county. If you didn't get one and you didn't see the paper, we have racks and store sales around the county. We also have some at our offices on Milstead Avenue. If you want to stop by there, and we'll be glad to give you a copy of the visions. Turned out to be a really good, and we have a lot of positive things happening in our county. So thanks to our advertising staff and to our editorial staff for putting together a great product that shows the positive part of our county. This one's kind of personal. First, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about supporting our local police on May 15th, which I've talked to you about before. But, in the meantime, some other things have happened. And I'd be remiss to talk about for a few minutes and give you some thoughts on what's happening in Baltimore right now. This is personal in the sense that, I'm from Maryland. And in fact, Molly and I spent our honeymoon in Baltimore. And beautiful place and beautiful old homes and kept clean and for a big city, a very nice city, and to see what happened to it over the last 2 days, it just breaks my heart, and it should break everybody's heart in this country. There's no question that something happened to this young man, and something happened by the time that he was picked up, and by the time he got to jail by the police. I think there was 5 or 6 policemen involved. There's a report that's supposedly going to be released Friday, but people couldn't wait for that, and they couldn't wait to see if justice was going to be done in this case, if justice needed to be done. They had to go out on the streets in pure wanton vandalism, pure hooliganism, pure nastiness, and burn down places that they need in their community. The CVS store that burnt, that you saw, if you saw it on television. I mean, where are some of the older folks going to go now for their medicines and for their essentials that were to a place that was right in their community? I mean, what purpose was that? The fact if it was a civil rights issue, that would be one thing, but it's not. It's again pure hoodlums, pure people that could care less about anybody except to go out and steal, rob, and create mayhem. And to do that to a beautiful city that a great majority of people had nothing to do with what happened there is just heart-wrenching. What scares me, and what scares me the most in the years that I've been around and seen this shows, that according to news reports, a lot of the young kids that were not only burning and looting, but were hurting our police people there. And police, I still don't know. I guess they have more patience that they would back up and let them do that to them. But that they did this in such a manner they could care less whether they were on television. We saw one guy that, of course, in the TV stations play this stuff up, that must have been hit with a beanbag by a shot, and he was showing everybody his bruise on his side, and and how rotten the police were to be shooting at him. He didn't bother to tell that he probably was throwing bricks and rocks and bottles at the police. So, just disgusting. But what this shows more than anything else is a complete, absolute breakdown of society in not only in Baltimore but throughout the country, and the complete breakdown of parental leadership in our homes. I mean, that's as simple, plain as you can make that. And when this happens, this is what you get. And you get people that have had no fathers, they've had no leadership from their mothers. They've just been allowed to run and roam and do what they want to do. And as a result, they terrorize good people who love their city, who love their property, who love everything else, and they ruin without even a thought people's lives who have spent their whole lives building up these little shops and have served their community. So how sad. And I feel sorry for Maryland because Maryland is a beautiful place, and there's some good people there. And I hope that the National Guard, and I hope that the extra police force and all, and the fact that they're going to be back in control brings calm to that city. And I hope Friday that whoever and whatever happened to the young man that had his neck broken and his spine severed, and whose family begged people not to do this, that the truth comes out, and whoever did that to him is punished to the full extent of being punished. So those are my thoughts on that. I'm just, it breaks my heart. And just one more thing I'm going to say on that. You know, I was reading a report the other day that these militia groups that are worse than any Nazi groups that you've ever seen or encountered or watched on television are growing in leaps and bounds in numbers up in the mountains across this country. And one of these days, this stuff's going to happen, and we're going to have a real civil war. And that's going to be the end of this country as we know it. Simple, plain, bottom line. Okay. Now, let's talk about something that's more positive. And I'm sorry I had to just get that out of my system. And I hope that helped you. May 15th, and we've talked about this, the Chamber, speaking of our local police, are sponsoring a luncheon. And it's not a Chamber complete Chamber project. It's a community project. The Chamber's just coordinating it, where the intention is to feed lunch to all the officers, both from the city and the county. And you know, right now we're asking for some monetary donations to pay for those luncheons, and this is our last appeal for that. And if you have a small business, or you're in the community and you just like to give $5 or $10 or $25 or whatever you feel like, you can send your check or money order to the Chamber of Commerce at P.O. Box 483 Conyers 30012, or call the Chamber at 770-483-7049, and they'll instruct you on how to do that. You know, we have a good police force here in both the county and the city. We've said that many times. Can one bad apple come out of that? Sure. Can one bad apple cause a serious problem and hurt somebody in this community? Sure. Does that mean that 99.75% of the rest of our police officers are bad? No, they're not. So, you know, let's keep our prayers and thoughts on our police departments, and we need them to continue to make Rockdale County the great place that it is, and that we can continue to do great visions, books in the future about how the progress of Rockdale County is and will be positive. So we hope you have a good week. You're entitled, again, to come down here anytime, and we'll put you on the air if you agree or disagree with what I've said. And just a reminder that we're giving 3 minutes away absolutely free to anybody that announces to come down and be filmed and tell people in Rockdale County why you think you'd best represent them if you won an election in Rockdale County in the 2016 election. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.